All right, let's dive into something that, believe it or not, affects almost all of us, but we almost never think about it. We're going to follow the secret journey of our medicine, way after we've actually taken it.
I mean, really, have you ever thought about it? You swallow a pill, you feel better, and you assume it just, goes away. But the truth is, that's where the real story, the unseen journey, is just getting started.
So we are going to trace that exact path. We're going to follow the active ingredients in our medications as they leave our bodies and start this whole new adventure out into the environment. Okay, so here's the key thing you need to know. Our bodies are pretty efficient, but they're not 100% perfect. When we take any medication, a good chunk of its active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, that's the stuff that actually does the work, isn't fully broken down. It just passes right through us, gets flushed, and enters our wastewater system. And that leads to the next big question. How exactly do these powerful chemical compounds get from our bathrooms and hospitals into our water supply? Well, it turns out there are a few major routes. First, and this is the biggest one, is just normal human use, what we were just talking about. Second is improper disposal, flushing old pills down the toilet or even just tossing them in the garbage. And third, and this is a really big one that's often overlooked, waste and discharge from the factories that are actually making the drugs in the first place.
Now you're probably thinking, hold on, don't we have these super advanced water treatment plants to clean everything up? And yeah, we do, but they have a huge blind spot when it comes to medicine.
See, our wastewater treatment plants are amazing at what they were built for, tackling big, conventional pollutants. Think of them like a giant strainer built to catch things like solids and organic gunk. They do a great job with that, but they just weren't designed to filter out these tiny, microscopic, incredibly complex drug molecules. They just slip right through the net. And here's the real kicker, the central irony of this whole thing. The very quality that makes a medicine so effective inside our bodies, the fact that it's stable and designed not to break down easily, is what makes it a huge, persistent problem once it's out in our water.
So, what does this all mean? When scientists actually went out and tested the water, what did they find? Well, the results are pretty eye-opening.
Okay, so back in 2014, the EPA and the U.S. Geological Survey did this huge landmark study. They went to 50 of the largest treatment plants in the country and took samples of the clean water coming out the other side, the effluent, to see what was actually getting through. And the findings were just staggering. Get this, a common blood pressure medicine, hydrochlorothiazide, was found in every single sample, 100%. And 3 other drugs, 2 more for blood pressure and 1 for seizures, were in over 90% of them. This isn't just a small, isolated thing. It is literally everywhere. But hey, remember that third source we talked about, the manufacturing plants? This is where the numbers go from concerning to just shocking. While the water coming out of a typical plant has pretty low concentrations, the water coming from plants that process waste from pharmaceutical factories can be 10 to 1,000 times more potent. Let me put a real number to that for you. That same USGS study, it found a maximum concentration of the opioid oxycodone at 1,700 micrograms per liter in the water from one of these plants. Just to be crystal clear, that is an incredibly high level for a powerful drug to be found in what's supposed to be treated water. Okay, so we know the drugs are in the water. The next and most important question is, so what? What is the actual risk here? What does all this mean for our health and for the environment? Well, for us humans, the direct risk from drinking water is generally considered very low. The concentrations are just too small. The real danger is for everyone else. First, the impact on fish and aquatic life is profound. And second, having all these antibiotics floating around in the environment is a huge driver of antibiotic resistance, a global health crisis that's already estimated to be killing more people than HIV/AIDS.
The U.S. Geological Survey put it perfectly. They said, we don't live in rivers, but fish do. And they are exposed to this stuff 24/7 for their entire lives. That makes them way more vulnerable.
And the effects we're seeing in the wild are genuinely alarming. We're talking about everything from organ damage from common painkillers to male fish actually developing female characteristics. We're seeing antibiotics poisoning plants at the base of the food chain and other drugs changing fish behavior so much that it threatens their ability to survive.
So, all of this paints a really tough picture, which brings us to the final and most critical question of all. What are the big challenges we have to overcome if we're ever going to fix this?
Well, the hurdles are massive. On the technical side, it's just plain difficult and expensive to remove these molecules. On the economic side, the high cost is a huge barrier for cities and for the companies themselves. Then there's the regulatory side. In the US, manufacturers don't even have to tell us what they're releasing. And finally, you have to look at the global scale. An estimated half of all pharma wastewater in the world is released with zero treatment. That's a staggering figure.
It really leaves us with this one profound question. The very medicines we designed to heal us are, unintentionally, harming the environment we all need to survive. The challenge, then, isn't just about building a better filter. It's about rethinking the entire life of our medicine, from the moment it's created to the moment it's disposed of, so we can find a way to heal ourselves without harming the very water that sustains all of us.